Well, let's get a reaction. We're joined by the Joburg Water Crisis Committee's Ravin Singh for more on this. Mr. Singh, a good evening to you. We've just had a big discussion around service delivery and what our local councillors go back to when they go back to their various communities, how they improve services. A big part of what they need to do is ensure that residents have water. Now, let's start with the case of Johannesburg. In fact, let's focus on what we've heard from Tata Moraro. Apologies for that. Tata Moraro essentially saying this week, all the areas that were hard hit last week with the water cuts will have their water back. For technically, is that going to be something that he's able to see achieved?
You know, our own understanding is that we are not going to have a consistent supply of water. It's going to be on and off. I think we need to face reality. We'll have to wait for the Lesotho Highlands water project to come through in 2029. And in our part of Johannesburg, which is Johannesburg East, where we cover Kensington, Observatory, Bruma, Cyrildene, Bertram's, Bez Valley, we've seen the population growing, largely through migration. And at the moment, it doesn't seem that the reservoirs that supply us can cope. So for the foreseeable future, we think that the infrastructure in the area needs to be improved to address issues of leaks, both in terms of the piping infrastructure, but also improvements in the reservoirs. So yes, water will return, but I still think for a long while it will be intermittent until the major service delivery issues are addressed around infrastructure.
Well, that sounds like a very long project because the infrastructural challenges are huge.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Johannesburg, especially the region that we're part of in Johannesburg, was designed for few people. Now that population has grown tenfold, perhaps more. And with all the previous single-family properties, or many single-family properties converting to multiple household dwellings, we've seen a proliferation of boreholes. But despite that, it's putting a strain on the system.
Yeah.
So it's not being able to cope, and it doesn't help that there are leaks. It doesn't help that our reservoirs are fully functional. So these need to be addressed, and I was able to, in a way, gate crash the press conference that you showed earlier.
Yeah.
And prior to the press conference, we were able to engage with the mayor, and we said to him, when can you come and meet our community? Can we do it in the next month? And he suggested that he will do it this week. And we agreed that there would be a meeting, it's a community meeting, where the mayor and Joburg Water will present their plans for addressing the infrastructural challenges in terms of the scope of the projects, the timelines, and so on, so that we can hold them accountable. Right now, we're not really clear about what their plans are for this region.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I'm out of time, but I want to squeeze this one in, and if you can do this for me in 30 seconds, please, Ravin. And that is, you see the messages, for instance, that were sent by the African National Congress to local councillors, and when you look at the issue of water supply, do you think that the right messaging is being given to the right people to ensure that an important basic service like that is delivered? So are we talking to the right people about the right thing?
I think it needs to be bigger than the issue of just ANC councillors. I think all councillors need to communicate in a very coherent manner.
Yeah.
We need to re-emphasize that we live in a water-scarce country, that supply is a big problem, and that everyone needs to take responsibility to conserve water. But it's very difficult to do that in communities, as you're showing now on your screen, where people have no access to water. And trying to build social solidarity is very difficult. So one of the issues we are considering putting to the city is, instead of throttling, why don't you focus on the issue? And we're still debating this issue. We haven't arrived at any conclusions. But why don't you have universal restrictions at higher levels? So that we don't have to have the kind of throttling we're seeing at the moment. And everyone needs to communicate those messages in a very clear way, beyond just the ANC,
Right.
all parties for that matter.
Ravin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it always. Ravin Singh of the Joburg Water Crisis Committee.